Ryan, you have the #1 total offense, #1 scoring offense in the country, but when you analyze it, is there like an area of the offense where you think we can get even better at this, or we really need to get better at this, or do you feel like, hey, we're clicking on all cylinders right now?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to continually improve on for sure. And it's a focus on execution during the week. We come out in the second half and kind of take a sack early on, don't execute that play. Had an opportunity for a big play there, and then go 3 and out. And there's things that we got to make sure that we lock in on, and still a lot to grow from. And as you start to play against better and better defenses, the issues are going to continue to emerge, and the issues are always there. It's the coach's job to identify them, to get out in front of them, and that's what we're focused on this week, is continuing to get better on execution and playing really hard in this game, because we're playing against one of the better defenses in the country.
This is kind of out of left field, but what are your thoughts on college football's overtime rules? I mean, Penn State and Illinois just played in the 9 overtime game. Do you like the overtime rules? Do you not like them? Are you indifferent? Like, where are you at on that?
That was the first time that I've seen anything like that, for sure. I think it's all of us we're in that same boat. We're too sure what to think of it all, but I know that the long overtime game that happened a few years ago, it seemed like it just went on too long, and the guys were a little bit at risk there. So this was certainly a new experience. I don't think that's what they expected when they put the rule in there, but so I guess the only thing I thought about is I better have more 2-point plays ready to go.
Second row right, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, when you had a chance to look at the film and watch CJ's throw to Jackson where he puts it between 3 defenders, what'd you make of that, kind of looking at it again on replay?
No, I mean, I thought that the route was run correctly, and the timing was good. We call that a 1-inch throw. We throw the ball right over the baseball net, and he delivered on that throw. I mean, that was a big time throw, and there's times to take those shots, and there's times where you got to understand when to maybe just check the ball down. But he was decisive, and he delivered the ball, and was well done.
Does that kind of show the confidence that he's playing with? Because I imagine to thread a needle like that, you have to be pretty confident as a quarterback.
Yeah, I do. I think so. But that's kind of we've talked for a little while about when you play against better defenses. There's not a lot of guys who are open. That's kind of how it goes. And as we start to play more and more of these teams, guys are less and less open, and that's part of playing really good, playing well at quarterback. But to your point, in order to make throws like that, you got to feel confident about it. But that goes back to practice. If we're practicing like that on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and he's already body repped it, then you have more confidence in a game because the picture looks like it did during the week.
I just want to ask quickly about the status of Master and Marcus Crawley.
Yeah, but Marcus is going to be out for a long time. It's a long-term injury, and certainly prayers go out to him. And it was something that happened during the bye week, and he's working towards recovery, but it's going to be a long road for him. Master will hope to get back this week.
Third row left, Dan Holt, 11 Warriors.
Yeah, Ryan, just to follow up on that, in terms of your running back depth, how do you feel about where your running back depth is right now?
Yeah, I mean, for this point of the year, we're doing okay. It's part of the game. You're going to have some guys who get bumped and bruised along the way. You're going to lose some guys, but I was excited to see Mayan get back out there, and it was good to see Evan. I thought Evan had some good snaps there, so you get Master back, and now you feel like you have 4 going into this game.
Was Mayan good when he left the game the other day? It looked like maybe on TV he was favoring something.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be practicing today. Yeah, in games sometimes you get battered. I mean, it's a rough, tough game, and there's a lot of things that happen, but expect him to practice this week.
Second row right, Austin Ward, Lettermen Row.
These injuries and things that you've talked about with the running backs, Ryan, how challenging has it been from week to week to get a feel for who you're going to have, how you're going to hand out the carries? It seems like it's just been a revolving door there.
Yeah, a little bit, but that's part of college football. I think different teams across the country deal with the same thing, and we know that it's going to be unexpected. That's what we talk about to our players all the time. You just don't know what's going to happen, and that's why you have to recruit depth. And guys got to understand their opportunity is going to come if they just continue to work, and because it's a rough game and guys get injured, and you have to be able to adapt with that. And but I think Tony's done a really good job with his room.
What is it like for you on the field, on the sideline, to watch Travion when he gets rolling? It seems like trying to arm tackle him would be a bad idea.
Well, it's everybody, but he's running hard, and but our offensive line is making holes for him, and the tight ends are doing their job, and Wide receivers did a good job blocking on some of those runs as well. So, I mean, it's everybody involved, but it's good when you see them get in a rhythm. But the big thing, to me with those guys is taking care of the football. And we have to continue to work on that and keeping our pads down. And it's all the little things that are going to be important as we play, some of these matchup games.
Third row middle, Doug Lamreese, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, what is your blocking success at the moment in terms of, it just feels like a lot of times if your guys are running a screen, or whether it's your receivers on the outside or an offensive lineman supposed to get a linebacker at the second level, it seems like you guys make the block a lot. And sometimes, you watch other teams, it's like, hey, you drew up the play pretty well, but that guy missed his block and it got blown up. Are you guys doing that pretty well right now?
Well, I think it goes back to what we talked about with execution, and I think sometimes we say things and it sounds like coach talk, but that's something we're taking a lot of pride in. We want to have great energy, we want to have great execution, we want to have great toughness, and we want to have great discipline. Those are the 4 things that we've been talking about here coming out of the bye week, and execution is important. Execution fuels emotion, and it's something that if you love the game of football, you're constantly trying to figure out that the game of chess of football is, for instance, with the offensive line, what are the calls? How are they going to attack us? What is the line movements? What kind of technique are they using? Are they 2-gappers? Are they penetrators? Is it a 3-down front? Is it a 4-down front? Am I going to get help? Do I need help on this block, or can I get up to the second level to make that block? Where is the running back in proximity to my block? Like, all those things are things that we have to continually work on, and it takes a lot of work. It's not just the physical part, it's the mental part. And I think that we've been doing a very good job of that. We need to continue to build on that. But I think that's what you're seeing is guys who are, and again, it goes back to practice. If you're doing it in practice and you've physically done it, when you go into a game, you feel more confident. So today's a big day for us.
And when you are playing a great defense that specifically has a couple great defensive players, how aware are you of, we got to make sure we control that guy, whether you talk about it, with what you scheme up during the week? I guess I'm asking, Micah McFadden, I thought, is one of the best linebackers in the Big Ten, and it felt like there were times last week when he would read some stuff and maybe be somewhere, and then you guys blocked it. I think on the screen touchdown to Travion, Ruckert went right to him and took him out of the play, and that was it. How aware are you of great defensive players on the other team?
Yeah, we're very aware. Our personnel conversations are very significant in trying to figure that part of it out. And you want to always give your guys the best chance to be successful. But at the end of the day, Ruckert has to make that block. If he doesn't make that block, it doesn't matter. But anytime you're calling a play or running a play, you want to put your guys in an advantageous situation. And whether it's personnel, leverage, whatever it might be, and matchups, as you start to get into some of these, really good defenses are important. Is that a good matchup for us? And you can't always project that correctly, but you try to play tendencies. This is a game of tendencies, and the more times that you're putting your guys based on tendencies in a good situation, then you're doing your job.
Over here far right, Don Sperry, WBNS.
Coach, as you look at their defense, what jumps out? We thought this would be a heck of a battle a couple weeks ago. Is any of the luster off it?
Well, I think the defense has played well. I mean, they really only gave up 10 points again last week, and I think they're averaging 14 points a game giving up. So it's a very good defense. Brent Pry's an excellent defensive coordinator, has been for a long time. They have a very good scheme, very good players. I think when you look at their front, they're very active. The linebackers are very good. And their back end is veteran now. They played a lot of football. So, they're one of the better defenses in the country, in my opinion. And there's a lot that goes into that. I think it's scheme. I think it's coaching, but they have really good personnel as well.
You've said in the past you didn't know for sure what to expect this year. Is your offense where you thought it would be at this point in the season? And how much better how much room for improvement is there, I guess?
Well, I think every week is a new challenge. I think of every week is like a whole season. You just don't know how the game is going to play out based on matchups, based on scheme, based on weather, based on how either side of the ball is playing. There's just so many different things that come into play, and try not to go into each game with any expectations other than just execute at a high level and take it one play at a time. Prepare the best we can during the week and go into the game try to go from there. But listen, there's going to be roadblocks along the way. There's going to be bumpy times here as we head into this game. This is a very, very good defense, and so we have to just sustain when things don't go as well as they have the last couple of weeks. But that being said, every time we get on the field, we're trying to score. I mean, that's obviously what we're trying to do, and we just got to stay humble on this thing, but also continue to build confidence.
Second row left, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, these types of games, obviously, most would classify as a big recruiting weekend, and I know you guys don't put that much emphasis in it, but is there things you want recruits to take from this weekend when you've got so many people here?
Yeah, well, I think it gives everybody an opportunity to see what a big-time college atmosphere is like, and obviously what Buckeye Nation's like, and playing a primetime game, and that's that's why you come to Ohio State, is to playing games like this, and we want recruits to embrace that. We want the guys who want to play in these type of games to come here, and so when they're able to see it with their own eyes, it's a lot different than seeing it on TV.
You've got commits who are maybe overly enthusiastic about the peer recruiting part of this. Is this where they can maybe do their best work at?
Yeah, no, it's great, and I think that's really picked up steam the last 3 to 4 years. Is the peer recruiting and guys building relationships before they even get here. But they've been excited for this game for a while. The recruits, they've been talking about this, and they have their red outfits ready to go. So it's going to be good.
Fourth row left, Colin Gay, Rivals.
Hey Ryan, you've mentioned a lot about kind of steadiness with CJ, not riding the roller coaster. Is that something, as you guys get officially into Penn State week, that you find yourself having to remind him more of because of kind of the gravity of this game?
I just think that you just, like any week, you talk to him about what to expect. What are the situations, what are the conditions, all those things, and that's part of coaching. But yeah, I mean, this game will be a little bit different. It's going to be electric. It's going to be at home. We're playing against a really tough physical defense that is one of the better defenses in the country. And in a matchup game, you got to learn to play a little field position football and those type of things, and being smart and all the things that have got him to this point. But at the same time, I mean, he's got to go, do what he's done the last couple of weeks, and that's go out there and play with confidence, prepare at a high level, and lead his team.
I also wanted to ask about the defensive line. How have you seen the dynamic of that room change, especially as you've seen younger guys come along and then seeing some of the older guys kind of get back to what you've been used to seeing from them?
Yeah, well, we're getting some of the older guys back, which is good, and they're starting to really show up, which is great. And then the younger guys who kind of early on had to play, kind of forced into some roles that now there's real depth there. So I think that room's coming around. They're again, you can see some energy there. You see them with good pad level, and now they're producing as well. So again, a bigger challenge this week, but you're seeing a lot of progress.
Fourth row middle, Patrick Murphy, 24/7.
Ryan, I asked you a couple weeks ago about the challenges of this second half of the season, and obviously you guys handled Indiana fine, but as you've said a couple times today, this is the big one thus far. What is the approach this week? How much does practice change? Does it not change? What's different when you are facing a team like Penn State that brings what they bring in?
Just the opponent, and our standard is not going to change, but we also know what's in store, and so we've got to utilize every minute of the week. That's what's important. When you're playing in big games, no stones unturned, and everybody's got to utilize every minute of the day. You can't waste a rep, can't waste a minute in meetings. You got to be efficient as a coach. Players need to get their rest. All those things. And but other than that, I mean, we're going to do practice the way we've done practice still, since week one, and that's the best way we know to prep.
And there seems to be a perception, Penn State not in the top 10 anymore, 2 losses. You don't seem to have that approach, that this is any different than maybe how people were looking at it a few weeks ago.
No.
Why is Penn State still as good as you thought they were, even though they've lost twice?
Well, when you look at the games that we've had with them in the past, they're always a dogfight. That's just the way it's been, and I know it's going to be that way. They have a lot of pride. They're a very good program. Coach Franklin does a very good job. I got a lot of respect for the 2 coordinators, Brent Pry and obviously Mike Yursich, who we know well. I mean, they're one of the best programs in the country, and so it's hard to beat these type of teams. And we know when Penn State comes into town, we got to be on our game, and this is going to be one of those games. It's going to be physical, back and forth, and we got to start fast and be ready to play for 4 quarters.
Second row right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus.
Ryan, Give me what you think of the state of the defense right now. Obviously, you made the change a while ago. There's been improvement. How much improvement has there been? How championship caliber is this right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, we're kind of taking it week to week, but you are seeing, first off, some guys fit into some roles that, wasn't there a month ago. And I think we all recognize kind of who guys are, who the starters are, who some of the guys who are rolling at different positions, and guys are producing. And I think there's a lot of confidence there. I think the way that we're preparing on a week-to-week basis with the defensive staff has been solid and efficient. Again, bigger challenges coming, but again, the goal for them is to identify the issues before they emerge and get them addressed. And there's certainly always issues to work on.
There's a lot of talk about going with more of a two-safety look. You also did something with the boundary and field, right? What did you change there?
Yeah, just having the ability to line up a couple different ways. One, to the formation, and two, to the field and boundary. And those are just different ways to give the defense a different look. And those guys have had long conversations about, again, what's best schematically for our players, but then what also challenges the defense. I mean, for the offense.
Second row middle, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Yeah, last two teams you've played, I think we're missing all their starting cornerbacks or most of them. When you look at, besides just being veteran, you look at Penn State's secondary, what's there that's going to challenge your receivers and CJ more this week?
Yeah, well, Castro Fields has played for a long time, very good player, veteran, understands that style of defense. I feel like over the years they've had a lot of corners who have played in that style of defense for a long time. He's one of them. Porter played against us last year, very long, very athletic. Again, does a good job in their defense. I think Brisker is one of the better safeties that we've played against this year. He's physical in the box. He's athletic. He runs around. I just think across the board, they're athletic back there, and it allows them to run some different schemes. They can man you up. They can zone you up. They can do a couple different things, and they do a lot of pressuring now, and they're aggressive with that. And I know they'll continue to do that in our game.
Last year, Dotson had a big game against you guys. Is that something that Denzel is prepared for, to be part of taking that away? And do you kind of look forward to seeing, I guess, how he rises to probably a bigger kind of challenge than he might have faced yet this year?
Yeah, I think Dotson's one of the better wide receivers in the country, and we got to know where he is at all times. They're going to try to find ways to get him the ball for sure. And so, however we go about doing that, that's part of the schematic stuff that we'll work on this week. But, we have to know exactly where he is.
Second row left, Griffin Strong, Lettermen Row Youtube.
Yeah, Coach, I know Julian had been dealing with some injury issues, but he did not get in this week despite seemingly being available for the game. Is he still working through some things?
Yeah, we're expecting a full week of work this week. He was available in emergency role last week, but we just didn't think it was the right thing to do. But we're expecting to practice this week and be available for the game on Saturday and play.
And then with Marvin grading out as a champion this week, what did you like out of him, aside from the causing the safety on special teams, but his receiving work as well?
Well, it starts with special teams. I think his attitude has been excellent on kickoff return, on punt return, and that's where it starts. He and Emeka both have been very, very good on special teams, and that it just translates over to playing on offense and defense. But I was impressed with the catch he caught over the middle, where he got smacked after catching the 5-step slant. And showed some toughness there. Obviously with the play he made on the safety, he caught another ball. So he's got a very, very bright future.
Right next door, Bill Landis, The Athletic.
Ryan, when you guys were, I guess, assessing some of the defensive changes you wanted to make, I realize as coaches you have a lot of experience. Maybe it's not new to you, but for your players, like how much of what you're doing now was stuff that you had maybe worked on in the offseason as a consideration for a changeup, and how much of it was totally new to them when you came in to meet after the Oregon game?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah, I wouldn't say that we came in and it was like out of left field. And some things maybe we toyed with the year before. But so many of our guys were so young that they were just trying to get lined up in the spring and the preseason. So I think we've done a good job of changing it but not overwhelming them. And we have to continue to do that.
I think any kind of change, really, yours seems somewhat substantial, can kind of go awry, I think, on you if it cannot go the right way. But it seems to have gone pretty well for you guys. I don't know, what does it say about your players, I guess, that they kind of take into that and have not shown any real kind of breakdowns as you're trying to transition to a different style of defense?
Well, and I met with those guys right after the Oregon game and just talked to them about that there needs to be ownership across the board. If this thing's going to work, everyone has to take individual ownership and then unit ownership. And, we're going to do everything we can to try to come up with some schemes to put you in a better position. But at the end of the day, we all have to own it. As the head coach, I got to own it. And then individually, the players have to own it. And it's the coach's job to put them in the best schematic advantage possible. And that's what we're going to do week in and week out. But I think maybe what you're seeing is that ownership. Like, okay, we got to own this thing. We got to make it work, because that's when you have really good defense.
Right behind you, Jacob Benji of the Lander.
Yeah, hey Ryan, just touching more on Marvin Harrison. How have you seen him learn from guys like Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, guys who kind of similar to him, came in highly touted, and with Marvin, he's got a father who probably gives him advice just when he needs. Just have you seen him just take the advice and kind of apply it? Well,
I think, like you said, he comes from a background where he understands what working is. He had a pretty high football IQ when he came in, but I think being around some of those guys has allowed him some perspective of guys who are playing at a high level and what he strives to be. But I've been very impressed with the way he's kind of come about every day in practice. He works hard. He shows up every day. He's got a great attitude, and he's shown toughness in games. I'm really excited about his future, and I think he's going to help us here down the stretch.
Over here to the far right, Tony Gervin, Buckeye School.
Ryan, you mentioned that you don't go into games with expectations, don't go into a season with expectations. Where's that come from? Is that advice you've got from mentors?
I don't know. I just think that over the years, when you do that, you get yourself out of whack. You start to think something's going to happen, and you can't do that. You can't make any assumptions. You can't take anything for granted. And that's just the way this game is. And the minute you start to do things like that, this game will catch you. You have to stay humble. You have to, continually focus on those little things, not expect anything other than, great effort and, obviously focusing on those type of things. But other than that, you just don't know what to expect on a daily basis. And that's what, you've seen that this year in college football. Anything can happen on any given Saturday. So, having that kind of white belt mentality, where you show up every day and you're just focus on the little things and you continue to build that up as the week goes on. Just something that I think works.
And then CJ, are you asking more of him than you did Justin and Dwayne at the same point in their starting careers?
I guess different things, probably. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to think about where he's at compared to where they were at their time. I think the one thing he didn't have that Dwayne had was those couple years where Dwayne was here. CJ, last year really didn't get all of that work. I guess Justin was in that same boat, but we kind of asked him to do some different things maybe his first year there. So probably not more or less, probably just different things.
Far right, Clay Hall, WSYX. Did I call you once already, Clay?
No, sir.
Okay, Clay Hall.
You're not scheduled to play Cincinnati, but you might be down the road. Have you noticed what they're up to, and are they deserving of their status?
I know Luke Fickell does an unbelievable job, and they've done a great job and had some good wins. So, first off, there's some Ohio State guys down there, so we pull for them. And being from the state of Ohio, we pull for them. But proud of the season they're having, and I'm just happy for them.
Might play as many as 4 ranked teams down the stretch here, and you've, I guess, touched on it a little bit. How do you keep the blinders on?
Well, you just turn on college football on any given Saturday, and you just watch it, and I think our guys know that. First off, we've already lost a game, so we know what that's like if we don't bring it, and how it can come down to 1 or 2 plays. We don't have to just say that to our guys. They've lived it, and they understand what the consequences are. So I think we have our attention there. I think our guys understand that. They're a little scarred and calloused from that, which is a good thing. But like you said, we got to stay humble, and we got to stay on it, and we can't let little things slip. Because, if we continually stay locked in on this thing, that gives us our best chance to win. And it's all about winning this game on Saturday night. It's going to be hard, and we got to show up, and we got to play, all the way 4 quarters.
Deep back right, Spencer Holbrook, Lettermen Row. Row.
Ryan, it hasn't really mattered because you guys have been blowing teams out, but it seems like the first drive of each game, the defense gives up a few chunk plays and then doesn't give up anything from there. I know that some of that is scheming and having scripts from the offense, but how do you kind of try to remedy that, and do you think that could be a concern down the road?
I mean, I hope not, but you're right. I mean, there's been a couple of those drives where they've schemed up a couple of things early on and caught us. I think the good news is we made adjustments to get them fixed, but yeah, you got to be ready for those things because the offensive guys try to come up with things that really put stress on a defense, especially early in the game and on that first drive to try to set a tone. And so, we got to have a good plan for that.
You see the production from your defensive line go from each guy just has one tackle for loss or one sack. Is that encouraging to know that everybody's getting in on it and you can just continue to roll guys as the season progresses?
Well, I think it keeps some good synergy in that room and good unit, harmony because guys are all playing and they're in there and they're all part of it. So, and they all understand it's a long season and it's a physical season and this stretch we're about to go on, we're going to need them all. So, I think that's Larry's been doing an excellent job with that.
Far left, Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now on SI.
Hey, Coach, you made it very clear early in the year and during the beginning of this season how critical it was going to be for you to develop depth. You talked a lot about how hard it was for you last year because you didn't have those games and those chances. In terms of your building that here through the first 7 games of the year, are you happy? Do you want to see more? Are you pleased with where that part of things are at?
Well, I'm just happy that we've had an opportunity to get guys out there and get those reps and play, and it keeps everybody moving in the program when they're out there playing, and it's developing your youth for the future, and that's really good. And when I say future, it might be this week, it might be in 2 weeks, it might be next year. You don't know, but that's part of being a team. And anytime you get those guys out there, you can coach them, you can get on the film with them. We were coaching those guys in the fourth quarter like it was an even score. I think that's what you need, and that's what we missed last year. So hopefully, again, it pays dividends down the road.
Felt like Travion early in the year needed to work a bit more on his pass protection. Obviously, the running part of his game has exploded on its scene. Are you happy with the steps he's made in pass protection?
Yeah, I think that he and Mayan, Master, they've been solid. Evan missed one the other day, but then came back and did a good job on the play to Cade Stover. So I think it's going to be harder and harder. Penn State will be blitzing us and coming after us, and so we got to do a great job in protection because that's a big part of the passing game is making sure that the quarterback is clean.
Over here to the far right, Adam King, WBNS TV.
You talked about kind of the scars from the Oregon game. Just curious, what's the biggest difference you see in the locker room, maybe from an undefeated team the last 2 seasons to kind of this team that has suffered a loss?
I don't know. Because you just don't know what's coming next. So you just continually work it week in and week out. Again, I think that our guys have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly already, even at this point of the season, which is a good thing. We're still young. We're still figuring it all out. But you're seeing a lot of guys build confidence, and it's tangible. I mean, you can grab onto it. You can feel it. But there's still a lot that comes with that. And the focus just has to be on execution, toughness, discipline, playing with great energy. And if we continually do that, don't let any of these other distractions get in our way, because that's the other part of it. When you lose, you can't let the noise kind of affect you. Well, it's the same thing when you start to pick up some wins here and you play well. A lot of people saying how well we're playing. Well, we have to ignore that noise as well and just stay locked in on what's important right now. And that's a great Tuesday practice.
Wrapping up here real quickly here. Fourth row right, Zachary Carpenter, Lettermen Row.
Ryan, you have a receiver committed in the 22 class and a primary target in the 23 class, both similar body types, like 5'9", 5'10", similar playing styles, explosive, looks like they could fit in the slot mostly. Is that philosophy for you and Brian going forward to try and bring in a body type like that, playing style like that, specifically like one of those receivers in each class?
If they're available, like we won't just fit somebody into that role just because we need somebody in that role, if that makes sense. Like we're going to try to find the best available. Now they have to be in certain, specifications, but we know how to adapt, and I think that's something that we're proud of here on offense. Is that based on who we have, we've been able to put those guys in the right position, and that's what coaching is, But when you have a great one who's built a certain way, you want him to be a Buckeye, and you'll figure out ways to get him the ball and how to adapt from there, within reason. Within reason.
And then with offensive tackle recruiting, past couple cycles, you've had misses on a couple high-profile five-star guys and wound up taking a couple of developmental type guys in the past two classes. And you said last week, kind of have to be careful about how many developmental guys you take, especially that position. How do you feel about offensive tackle recruiting? Has it met your standard, or do you guys need more of that going forward?
Well, I think when you look at the way our tackles are right now and what we have in the program, I've been very impressed with the way that our tackles have played. And that's really the true gauge, right? You have some guys who are right now with us, Thayer Munford, DeJuan Jones, I could probably name a couple other that weren't highly recruited, but they were developed and they're playing at a high level now. And then you have some other guys who were recruited, who were really highly recruited that maybe didn't work out. So at the bottom line is finding the right fit for Ohio State and what we do, and then developing them at high level. And then what is the ultimate evaluation? How they play when they're here. So to me, it's more about where are we at right now? Like, let's evaluate Nick Petit-Frere, DeJuan Jones, Thayer Munford, Paris Johnson, all those guys in our program. When you grab a guy and you say, okay, this is the guy we want, how are you going to develop and what's he going to look like in 3 to 4 years? And to me, that's the most important thing, not how many stars they have.
And finally, we'll wrap up with third row right, Tim May, Lettermen Row.
Ryan, I looked out there on Saturday night and I go, well, that's a new formation, and then I realized you guys were in a huddle. Is it and obviously, it was obvious what y'all did from there with that. Who brought that up? Who brings that up in do y'all do that on Sunday? You decide you're going to throw a little something new wrinkle in every week. How does that work as far as going into a game? Like the out formation a few weeks ago, et cetera.
Yeah, you guys get excited about like the QB sneaks and the fullback and the huddle. Yeah, all that stuff. It's good. It just, if we think that it gives us something, we'll do it, and we just have constant conversations about what we think is best that week and why, and we do that in the off season. We'll do that. We start really every team period. We'll huddle together, and CJ will call it in the huddle so that they can hear it, because that's different than seeing a signal. When you live in that world of seeing signals, then you actually verbally hear it. There's two different things there. So we try to do that and work on that in the spring and in the preseason, and then we try to start every drill with that, where they actually hear the call, so that if we decide to use huddle in a game, that there's no real problem there.
And, you talked a while ago about the defense and the adjustment. I asked you a couple of weeks ago about the way, how much you like the prep work that's going in with this team during the week and stuff, or the adjustments that they're making defensively clearly from the first possession on. Is that an offshoot of what you're seeing during the week?
I think so. I hope so. I mean, the proof's still yet to be seen, but I see that. I see guys who like football, who care about the details, who are talking football. Again, you go do bed check, and they're working on their tips in their test. And at a walkthrough, guys are locked in. We went to a special teams walkthrough the morning of the game, and I've never seen guys more energized and just sharp. And it's like they were literally in the game. I mean, they had bent knees. They were sweating after the walkthrough. And I walked out of that walkthrough saying, we're going to have a heck of a night, because that's what you need if you want to play at a high level of college football. You can't just show up. You got to take all that seriously, because if you've already played it once in your head, if you prepared so well, then you can play with great confidence and anticipation. And so that's what we're chasing.
And one other quickie, with CJ, obviously he fit a few throws in there the other night that were really nice. Is there a fine line between being confident and cocky with a quarterback? Do you have to watch that with a young quarterback?
Well, I think confidence is very important. But like you can't ride the roller coaster. You have to stay disciplined. You have to trust your eyes, and you can't test your limitations in a game. Maybe sometimes in practice, which isn't a bad thing, but certainly not when it comes to game. You got to be smart, and you got to stay disciplined, and you got to take care of the football. And then based on the situation, there's times, whether it's a third down and you got to have it, or a fourth down, or a 2-point play, where maybe you can take a little bit of a chance. But that's all part of that growing process that we talk about all the time. But staying disciplined and making sure you take care of the football is critical. Yeah.
Coach, thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for folks, if you're having trouble getting your Penn State Jeremy Ruckert. Ready?
Yep.
Jeremy, we're going to go third row middle. Doug Lamorese, Cleveland.com.
Hey, Jeremy, I wanted to ask you about a specific play Saturday, the touchdown screen, Travion. You went and got a block on McFadden.
Yeah.
It just looked like you went right to him and took him out of the play. Can you just
Take me through like what your responsibilities are on that play. Did you sort of expect that it would be McFadden in that situation, and what you did to make that block?
I mean, we just kind of repped it a lot in practice. We knew what we were going to get. If it's man coverage, he's covering the back, so just block him, and Trey will do the rest. He's a really good player, so you don't really have to overthink it. You know, he'll make some people miss, and like I just said, we repped it a lot in practice, and just be able to execute in the game and not make it too big in the moment was what kind of happened there.
Whether it's you guys in the tight end room or receivers or offensive linemen getting out in front of plays, how good do you think you guys are at sort of making the blocks in space that you need to make to let big plays happen?
Yeah, like I said before, I think how we practice so competitively with our defense and with ourselves, I think what helps amplify or make the game not as hard as it really is in practice. I think we go against each other every day. Every Tuesday is a tough, hard practice, and we got to get our mind right on Tuesdays. So once Saturday comes around, we've seen the look, we've repped it in practice, and we've made the play in practice. So we just got to execute, and like I said, just be able to make the play in the game.
Right behind him, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Jeremy, I think there's a perception out there that Penn State's lost twice. Maybe this game isn't as big of a deal as people thought it would be a couple weeks ago. Why is Penn State still as good, even though that they've dropped a couple games?
Yeah, you can see it on tape. They're very physical. They come at you downhill on defense. They have a really strong defense, and they always play us tight every year. So we respect them. We respect this game, and we kind of don't. We don't like to look at what happened in previous games. Like I said, we lost one earlier in the year, and we're building momentum, and you can't really take that into consideration when you're going against an opponent like this. They're really tough, strong, and we know it's going to be a great atmosphere at the shoe, and so they're going to bring their best, and we have to match that and bring our intensity. And like I said before, make plays in big moments, and that's what I think our team's getting capable of doing.
Over here, far right, Clay Hall, WSYX.
Jeremy, I saw on social media that you were at the Jackets game last night. I was just curious, somebody said it was your first time. What do you think of the atmosphere and how they played?
It was cool. I love hockey. I love watching hockey. I've always watched it growing up, and got some guys to go down with me and watch that game. And like I said, it was just a good atmosphere on the day off, and being able to enjoy something other than football for a little bit. But now it's time to get back into it, and hopefully they bring that same energy on Saturday night.
Fourth row left, Colin Gay, Rivals.
Kind of going off of what Cal was saying, does the atmosphere, at what point did the atmosphere change from, was it immediately after your guys' win against Indiana, like into Penn State week, or at what point did it change into kind of this bigger kind of atmosphere that you guys expect for Saturday?
I think just anytime you go and play home, like I said, especially for me, I only have a few opportunities left to play in the shoe. Feels like yesterday I just got here in the summer of 2018, and time's been flying. We've been making a lot of memories, but it's just so many few opportunities left to go down there and play in front of these fans and in front of your family. So just making every moment count, and this is going to be a really big game for us. And you get to enjoy those away games, enjoy those wins that you have, and then once Sunday comes around, you kind of let it go out the window and prepare for the next game. And we know it's going to be a big one this week. And like I said before, just trying to make the most out of my few opportunities left in the shoe.
Feel different in that locker room this week compared to weeks past, or is it kind of just steady?
I think we do a great job of just keeping a steady mind throughout the whole season. Of every opponent we respect, we bring the same mindset every week of this opponent's coming to take us out, and we have a big target on our back. So I think just being able to give our opponents the respect they deserve, and no matter who it is or when it is or what they've had going on the past few games, I think that they're going to come into our stadium, they're going to give us their best shot, so we need to be ready for that and respect them in the best way, and so just keep preparing for that.
Third row right, Tim May, Lettermen Row.
Yeah, Jeremy, can you speak to the development of C.J. Stroud? I know we ask you that almost every week when we get a chance to, but just Saturday night he seemed very poised. He seemed to find the tight end open a lot. But just what have you seen improve on him just the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think you just see that the game's slowing down for him. It's really tough to come into a big-time environment like in a big-time school like Ohio State and just perform right away. I had some trouble with that, and he's done a great job. He's been showing up every day with a positive mindset, and I try and tell him every game that just don't do anything special, just be yourself, because that's what got you here, and trust your coaches, trust your players, because they're going to put him in the best position to win. And like I said, whatever he's done to get here to this point is enough, and just keep trusting that and following that. And I think he's done a great job of that, of just seeing the field well, managing the game well, not forcing much, and just being himself. So I think that's the biggest thing for anybody in these big moments is you've trained hard, you've worked hard to get here. So in these big moments, just go back to your training and rely on that.
How soon during the week, or do you ever even get a feel for what the coaches are going to be trying to attack differently from last week, you know what I mean? How soon do y'all get a feel for that, or is it just in the game, you just see it develop? You understand what Brian Day and Kevin Wilson are going for?
Yeah, I mean, I think these Tuesday and Wednesday practices, when we install our game plan, is kind of when we get a feel for it. We watch a lot of film over the weekend and get used to what we're going to see and try and replicate that in practice all week. We do a great job of getting our scout guys ready to go and giving us a look. So I think that, you know, like I said, just being prepared on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and perfecting that on Thursdays is what really helps us on Saturdays. You know, our coaches do a great job of giving us the looks, and so when you get out there, you're kind of seeing the same things. Obviously, they're going to change up a little bit when they play us, give us a little something different, but it's how we handle that really is going to put us ahead, and I think we're doing, like I said, this season we're doing a great job of that.
Second row right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Jeremy, what's the level of confidence you guys have as an offense right now? Is the feeling like the only people who can stop us are us?
I feel like we've always had that mindset of just, you know, staying on track and just having no hiccups, no penalties, no false starts or anything like that. That's what really gets us behind in drives, and I think that some drives that don't really work out well, you kind of see that those things happen. So I think that having that mindset of, you know, only way we're going to be stopped is if we stop ourselves, even if, you know, whoever we're playing. I think that the biggest thing is that if we just come out with the same mindset of, you know, we can do this, we've practiced, we've trained for it. Like I said, I think that's what helps separate us and keep moving forward. All this momentum is that we just believe in ourselves so much and believe in our coaching staff and all the work we've put in. So I think that's the biggest thing with that.
I think on that pass from CJ to Jackson, you were one of the underneath guys.
Yeah.
When he threw that pass, completed that pass, I mean, you're thinking, oh man, I mean, what goes through your mind when you see that play?
Well, I kind of saw the coverage, so I knew he had a shot at throwing to Jackson. I didn't really see those guys get out of there that fast, but I definitely had a good view of it. It was a great throw, and, you know, kind of got the drive going and got some momentum going. And just went up to CJ, said, great throw, and let's go on to the next play. And I feel like we've done a really good job of that, of whether it's a good play or a bad play, you know, throwing it out the window and moving on and having a short-term memory, because you got to just take it one play at a time and keep getting momentum off of that. And I think, like I said before, CJ's done a great job of that.
Second row middle, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
I don't know how much you get to notice this as the plays are happening. I'm sure you see it on film, but Trevion Henderson and the way that he kind of maintains that balance through contact.
I notice it.
Well, sometimes it's happening a long way downfield.
Yeah.
Do you, as an athlete, when you see that, do you think that's something that he has learned and been trained for? Or do you think that's something that's like innate, that like only certain guys can do that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think all you guys can understand that he's extremely special at what he does, and he can make a lot of plays a lot better, whether it's how he blocked it or not. He can kind of make some things happen. You know, I think he's done a great job of being humble through this whole process and being a great teammate. And like I said, the whole world's starting to see what we already know he can do, and we just hope that he can keep his head straight and keep going, because he's done a great job of that so far. And as these moments get bigger, just keep being himself and, you know, keep making those plays. You can definitely notice that he's got something special, and he's definitely helping out our team a lot.
You say that when the offense has a good play, bad play, you kind of wipe it off, go to the next one. But I would assume that there can be some like residual benefits emotionally, whatever you want to call it, when you see a guy make those big plays, right? Like, what does that do for an offense, and is it different, especially when it's in the run game like that, those long breaks?
Yeah, I think we try to do a great job in the run game of setting up our offense, and being able to run the ball is crucial in big time college football. And I think our O-line and our tight end unit really takes that crucially and takes it to heart to be able to get in there on Tuesdays and really grind and go against our defense, who's doing a great job of stopping the run, and just going against each other every day and getting better. I think that, you know, once you get a run game going, it really opens up a lot of things, and it's really important for us, especially in the tight end unit, to be able to play all downs and be able to do all different things. So I think that we've done a great job of that, of preparing and following our coaches on which runs are looking good this week, and being able to just be able to perform on Saturday when it really comes down to it. Because a lot of people see routes and making plays in the pass game, but really the plays that really matter on first down on the run or third and short, when you really got to get those 2 yards. And we've worked all week for it, and I think that it's really showing up in the games.
Got time for just a couple more. Second row right, Austin Ward, Lettermen Row.
Jeremy, after the game, CJ kept talking about all the conversations that you two seemed to have during the game. Was he just saying that because you were sitting next to him, or have you become a more vocal presence out there on the field?
I try my best on the field to just, you know, keep everybody's heads on straight, especially CJ. You know, I can only imagine what it's like, you know, playing tight end. You got to do a lot of jobs, but I feel like quarterback, you got to know everybody's job and be able to do that all in a split second. So I can only imagine what he's thinking. So anytime I can, I just try and go up to him and just tell him, just be cool, relax. You know, you're here for a reason, and you know you're special. So just be yourself. And I try to just do those little things, just get these guys to just realize that, you know, no moment's too big. We've been through it. Coach Mix made us train through the toughest environments we can imagine this offseason. Fall camp is there for a reason. Tuesday and Wednesdays are there for a reason. So I think that those are the defining moments of our program are really in the off season. And once you get into these games, and you just got to revert back to that. And I think we do a really good job of that.
How much more do you feel like you're talking or raising your voice than the last few years?
Definitely a lot more. You know, being that older guy, you kind of, Coach Mix challenged me a lot. Coaches have challenged me a lot. And I've seen it in the past with guys like Coop and Tuff and all those guys. And just seeing how successful those guys are doing right now, you know, it just challenges you to just want to be like that and, you know, take that role on and just try and be as vocal as you can. It's not easy being able to do that, but once you start doing it, it gets a little bit easier every time. And like I said, it doesn't have to be just yelling at somebody. You can just put your hand around someone's back and let them know that, you know, you got their back and that, you know, they're here for a reason and we're all here together and doing this together. And I think that just shows a lot more than, you know, just getting in somebody's face and screaming at them.
And right next door, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Jeremy, I guess from our eyes, it looks like CJ's throwing the ball with a lot of confidence and trusting himself to put the ball where it needs to be and be aggressive. Do you feel that way as like you're catching passes from him, that he's just trusting himself and just being aggressive, pushing the ball downfield?
Yeah, I definitely think that whenever he throws the ball, he's very decisive with it. You don't see him really just thinking about too much. You see him just ripping it, and I think that shows a sign of a confident quarterback and a confident offense. And I think that, you know, if we can keep building on that as these games get bigger and into bigger stages, I think that the more you can kind of keep that energy and not really think about too much and just keep that confidence up is only going to help us down the road.
Has that evolved from where he was September and kind of having a chance to rest with that week back in September?
I think it's kind of evolved for all of us as an offense. You know, we're not thinking about much. We're just going out there and playing and just trusting our training, trusting what we're doing during the week. And I think it's really just showing up now on these Saturdays when we're on this roll of just, you know, being ourselves and getting this training rolling.
Great. Jeremy, thank you very much.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Haskell, Saturday more to the expectations for the Rushmen?
Yeah, it's just we're working as a group and just working really hard on our craft and getting gaining that confidence I talked about earlier in the year with the young guys, and so just happy where we're at.
Which stat means more to the defensive line, the 5 sacks or 14 tackles for loss?
I'd say really the tackle for losses, because the sacks come, but with tackle for losses, it's just stopping the run and playing ball in the backfield. So.
We'll go third row left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Haskell, Tyreke's a guy who's had to battle a lot of injuries, including this year. Just kind of what have you seen from him in terms of his perseverance to get back on the field?
Really his mindset. He's been eager to get back on the field, and he's become really a student of the game. Not saying that he wasn't before, but he's just really been in the meeting rooms trying to work on how he can get better from the film that he's already been put on.
For you guys to be, as healthy as you've been, I think, right now all year on the defensive line, how important is that as you kind of get into this meat of the season?
Yeah, Coach Day always talks about that we're going into second season. Everything is a one elimination game, and for us to have everybody healthy and for everybody to, be on film is detrimental to our success.
Second row middle, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Haskell, Tyreke Williams is playing a lot, playing well. It's hard to play as a true freshman at D tackle. What is enabling him to do that, and when did you kind of realize, he's going to be able to help us?
In the spring, I realized that he has very good athleticism for his size. Just really how well he moves for how big he is I knew that he was going to be a big contributor to our unit.
Deep right, Tony Alford,
Why does
Buckeyes.
call you Blink? Can you explain why they nickname you Blink?
Don't you got some film to watch, man?
Sorry about that, Haskell.
No, you good.
Fourth row middle, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Haskell, both Ryan and Jeremy were talking to us about Penn State, still being such a challenge defensively, even though they've lost 2 games. What is your perspective on Penn State's offense, which hasn't had as much success, has struggled some, and some of these losses have? What do you see from them?
I see a great O-line. I see a veteran quarterback back there, and I see a very lethal offense. They're a good team, and their losses aren't no blowout losses. They're close, tough losses. To tough teams that go in and everybody has a target on their back in the Big Ten. So for me personally, this is a really well-coached team. It's a very lethal offense, and we have a lot on our hands this week.
Fourth row left, Jacob Benji, the Lantern.
Hey Haskell, we were talking with Ryan just about how the offense and their numbers, they pop off the page. They're at the top for most of them. How would you go about stopping the Ohio State offense, and just what do you see from them when they have the ball?
The Ohio State offense, what do you mean by that question?
What are your impressions of the offense, with them being the best total offense, the best scoring offense, things like that? Just what are your impressions of the offense?
What they do on Saturdays start on days like today, our Bloody Tuesdays. So we really get after it in practice, and they practice hard. So for me, it's just what you're doing throughout the week and how hard you practice to beat your opponent. That's how you beat our offense.
Third row right, Tim Main, Lettermen Row.
Haskell, as you watch a video of y'all's defensive play right now, what jumps out at you that wasn't there 4 weeks ago?
I'd say, it comes again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but just confidence. Coming in this season, we had a lot of new guys, and what jumps off is, one, we're playing with confidence, and we're having fun playing with each other. It's a new group that is, you had some guys that played together, some guys that didn't, some guys that are used to the rotating job, and now that they're starters and they're the guys, it's been special to watch how we've evolved as a defense and really growing that chemistry with each other.
Was there something different about Zach Harrison on Saturday night that you hadn't seen the last several weeks? Obviously, you got defensive player of the game, for you guys, but what, did he turn it up a notch? He talked last week that he was, was hell bent, but it showed up. But what was different about him?
Oh, he was locked in the whole week. We were racing off the ball.
having little challenges, little competitions during practice, and just that look in his eye, he was ready to go.
And where did you get the nickname Blake?
I'm not going to speak on that.
Second row left, Steven Means, Cleveland.com.
Be my question, but in all seriousness, last year it was basically you and Tommy in the interior is kind of your guys' show, and there wasn't a lot of depth behind your guys. But you just mentioned Tyreke, Ty Hamilton's kind of showing up in there, Jerron. I mean, can you just speak on the depth that you guys have this year? Do you feel like it's more guys who are contributing at a high level than it was a year ago?
Oh yeah, and I feel that a lot of guys are stepping up. I said that last week. A lot of guys are stepping up in big ways. Not only are they stepping up with their voice, but their gameplay. And with those guys, we're gonna need that depth at D tackle going into the meat of the season, because this is where guys start to get weathered down, and injuries and bumps and bruises start to really show up during the week. So having those guys prepared and ready, and not only having maybe 2 to 3 guys that are gonna be your guys in the fourth quarter, you can play with depth throughout the whole game.
Second row right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah. When Tim asked you about the change on defense, you mentioned confidence. How much also has the schematic changes aided that in terms of knowing that the offenses don't think the defense is as predictable, different looks, that kind of thing? How important has that been?
It's been very important, just how we do things, and just changing things up, really, for us to just play fast, really, just be able to play fast and play with each other and be on the same level as communication with each other on the field.
And I know Matt Barnes is not your position coach, but he's obviously overseeing the defense now. What impact do you think he's made?
Oh, he's, it not only goes for us, next man up, when one falls down, it's the next man up, but when he was asked to step up and take on that role, he did a great job. Coach Barnes, all our coaches are great coaches, and they're always there for when one of the coaches falls or is not ready for a certain thing. So Coach Barnes is awesome.
We'll go far left, Justin Holbrook, WCMH.
Sean Clifford is questionable this week. Does that change your preparation and how you prepare for a team, not knowing who's going to play quarterback? And if it does, how does it change the preparation?
I wouldn't say it really changes anything how I prepare. We really prepare for all the quarterbacks. Last week we didn't know who the quarterback was until I'd say Friday night. So just really understanding their offense and what their OC tends to do, and how their offense works and how their system works when they are faced against opponents. I really watch for me personally, I watch how other teams play us and how they've played us in the past years, and what they've done against top match opponents. So for me personally, I'm always watching the guy across from me, not really the quarterbacks, just watching how they do things.
And right behind him, we'll end up with Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Go back to Tyreke, because at the time that this defensive line was kind of starting to come along, he was still hurt. You remember the level he was playing at late last season. Is that getting him back to health? Does that kind of raise what you think this defensive line could still accomplish this season?
I think it's just having him is very detrimental to us. We have a lot of pass rushers and guys who have different roles, and to have him adds that that uniqueness and that value to our unit. And so I think with having him back, we'll be good.
Great. Haskell, thank you very
Appreciate
much.
you, Jerry.
Thanks, Haskell. folks, we are going to open the floor for questions for Tyreke Smith. Second row right, Austin Ward, Lettermen Row.
Tyreke, I know how much you love when I ask about your health, and it had to be frustrating for you to miss those 3 games when it seemed like maybe still on that upward swing a little bit.
Yeah, no, it sucked, but health is most important. So you gotta make sure you all the way healthy before you step on the field. And a lot of the coaches always tell me you don't want to put out bad film, and so that's a big thing. So I mean, if I'm not 100%, I'm not gonna be helping the team in the way I want to. And I feel like, and the coaches feel like it's best, that I just
Get back out there then and make an impact and have a sack on Saturday. I mean, how much did that mean to you, and where does it go from here?
It meant a lot, but it's just it's just the beginning. Coach always says we can always get way better than we are. It's just we're just scratching the surface. So I just keep that mentality, in the back of in the front of my head, and always just try to look for something better. I did get a sack, but it was a lot more rushes than I could have did better on, and I could have made a more of an impact, I thought. So I just did what I thought. I did what was in the game plan. It worked for me. But, this is the beginning. We still got a long season ahead of us. We're only going up from here. So I'm just trying to work on what I could do to, impact the team in a better way from here on out.
Far left, Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated.
Hi, Tyreke. Hey, obviously this has been kind of probably a more challenging journey for you here in the last 12, 18, 24 months than maybe you expected. When you think about everything that you've been through and how you've grown through that, what are you most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of, my faith. It's been strong through it all. My mom, always just telling me to just be humble, but stay hungry and just always remain faithful, and just lean on God, because God always has a plan. So that's just my thing. Like, God has a plan for everything, whether I like it or not. I always just trust in His plan, and every time I step on the field, I'm gonna use my God-given abilities, and I'm gonna go as hard as I can, within the scheme, within what I'm supposed to do. So that's what I just do. I just, just let God handle it. I only can do what I can control. So I just go out there, play my hardest, and if that's what's the right thing to do, then that's what I'm gonna do.
Jeremy said that he often thinks about the defining moments in this program as off-season challenges, things with Coach Marotti, things in camp. How often do you reflect on some of the tough times you guys go through to prepare yourselves for big games like this? So that when Penn State comes here for a night game, you feel like you've done that before?
Yeah. A lot of times, when it's that fourth quarter, you're tired, and, you're trying to look for some more energy in the tank. You go back and you think about those times where you was in mat drills, or, those times where you got to go through those lifts, those times where you stepped up to the line thinking, dang, I'm so tired. I don't know how I'm going to do this this next rep, but you just do it anyway because, it's just you turn that mental switch on in your head, and that's kind of what Ohio State instills in you, that mental switch that, that just push through anything, because you're going to do it for your brother next to you, to the left and to the right of you. So, yeah, I just think that's the biggest thing. Just remembering all the training you did, just remembering that what you're doing is not for nothing.
Second row right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
I would imagine that not playing as much as you wanted to early in the year has given you extra motivation for the home stretch. Could you just kind of address that and just your mindset as we enter this part of the season?
My mindset is just, doing what I can for the team to make us, go one step forward with a dub. So anything I could do, I'm extra film, extra treatment, extra sleep. Maybe it's I got to say something to someone else. I think they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They got to pick it up. We're all a brotherhood in here, so it's not anybody. No one's gonna get in their feelings about constructive criticism. So I just think the mindset we have is we're not where we need to be. We're a good team, but we can always be better. And we came up short last year, so that's just always in our heads too. So just to go as hard as we can, because we know we got to finish what we started. We got to finish what wasn't finished last year. So that's what.
Biggest reason for the defensive improvement since Oregon Tulsa to now?
I think guys just buying in, just giving themselves up, just ripping themselves open and giving their hearts out for the brothers and for the love of the brotherhood. We talked, and we knew we weren't playing to the standard we needed to play, and we just sometimes you just gotta look in the mirror, look at yourself and ask yourself, what can I do to do better for this team, or what can I do to make myself better to better this team. So I think that was what was going on, a lot of that. I think it was a humbling experience too, the one loss we took. You're not gonna always win, and sometimes the losses are what's gonna help you, get to the win. So I just think we took it as a learning lesson. We didn't dwell on it. We just took it as a humbling experience. We came back, worked, and we doing better now. So it was.
Deep right, Spencer Holbrook. Excuse me, Lettermen Row.
Terry, Haskell said a couple of times throughout the year, and there's the ongoing competition between the defensive tackles and the defensive ends. You guys played really well Saturday. Were you a little upset to find out that you guys had 2.5 sacks and the defensive tackles also had 2.5 sacks?
Nah, I'm never upset about that. I want all my guys to eat. The defensive tackles, they stepped up in a huge way, and it's never like you looking at it as like, dang, he got a sack and I didn't. A lot of the times, even we're all working together, everything's just like, I feel like it's like a bike, like everything's like a chain, and when there's one weak link in the chain, that's when the bike messes up. So when the interior dudes are playing well, when we playing well, they make us play better. When they're putting pressure on the quarterback, they're forcing it out to us. When we're, getting pressure on the outside and we're pushing it up to them, we're making it better for the D tackle. So when we can, we work together. We're brothers. We go out there. We love playing with each other, and so we just always try and make each other better. When someone gets when someone gets a sack or someone gets a tackle, we all happy. We all feel like we got the tackle in that.
Some dominant defensive ends before. Is there an advantage to having everybody, the production spread out through everybody, rather than one guy getting all the attention and then everyone else getting what he doesn't?
Yeah, whatever way possible. I think the way we're going right now, everybody having an even slate of stats. I think that's good. It shows that everybody's excelling and everybody's not staying stagnant and everybody's getting better. So like he just asked, the team's getting better every game since the early season. So I just think every game, we're just going out there trying to play hard, trying to play within the scheme, trying to get a win for our brothers. So we're not only playing for ourselves on the D-line, but we're playing for the guys on the back end too. So we're just, trying to do our part in what we can do to win the game. So it's really helping, and it's really going good.
Time for a couple more. We're going to go deep left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Tyreke, when you think about where you are in your career at this point, do you feel like you're pleased with what you've been able to accomplish here so far, or do you feel like there's still another level that the world hasn't seen from you yet?
Yeah, I always think it's another level I could tap into. I just go out there. Like I just said, I let God handle it. I don't really think too much about that. But I just go out there and try to give my 110%. So when I go out, when I lead the game, I feel like I did what I could. As long as we're getting wins and the team's doing good and the defense is doing good and we're still playing and doing good and the chemistry's going good, then I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. So my brothers are doing good. I'm just kind of smiling. It just makes me happy because I just know we're doing something right. All these days in practice and we're going out here working out, we're training, lifting, doing all these things, sacrificing time to be be here. It's just no better feeling than when people are winning and you see people winning, you see people doing good, and you see results happening. So that's what makes me happy.
Obviously, sacks aren't everything, but talking to Zach last week, like he said, it is important to him to get those sacks, those sacks numbers. How do you look at that in terms of just getting pressure versus getting those sacks?
The finer things, the little details. Just when you're going out there trying to rush, rushing is an art, and that's what Coach Jay says. Rushing is it's not just something you just go out there and do. You got a plan with it. It's an art with it. So. The sacks do mean something when we're going out there and we're hitting our moves and we're doing our moves, trying to make a difference in the game. When we're not getting there, you put all that work in the whole week, and then you go out there and you like this second or a point millisecond too slow to get the sack. That kind of means something. So I just think the biggest thing we pay attention to this year is, how can we turn the pressures into sacks? How can we shave off those little seconds that we were too late for the quarterbacks? But I think we're doing pretty good this year. We're picking up our rushing. We're picking up our slack, and the sacks are the pressures are definitely turning into sacks now. So we just gotta keep putting them in the bank, keep stacking them, and keep getting better. And we got the best O-line in the country here, to go against, I feel like, in my opinion. So I feel like there's no reason we shouldn't go out there and, turn those pressures into sacks.
And we'll wrap up with third row right, Tim May, Lettermen Row.
Tyreke, do you feel like, I'm not trying to give you the big head here, but do you feel like you're sort of a bonus coming on at the right time for this Ohio State defense and for this team? I mean, are you looking at it a little bit like that? I mean,
yeah, I got you. I always think I give my team a different aspect in the game. So, yeah, I think in a sense it's a bonus. It's always better, to have everybody to go to war. And I think it's just an extra. It's no fall off when when I'm coming in, whether I'm starting or whether I'm coming off the bench. So I just know whoever I'm coming in after, I'm a match his intensity. Or I'm a match his level of fire. So. I don't know if I look at it as a bonus, but it's definitely a one up when I'm coming in, and I'm gonna give everything I got for the team. I'm gonna give everything, every ounce of what I have in me, whether it's pumping down or I'm squeezing the tackle, or if I'm chasing the quarterback, I'm doing it all. So yeah, I think it does help. When I come in, the guys know they're not coming out, and it's not going to be like a drop off, and we're coming in. We're going to keep the same intensity and keep the tackle that we're going against tired, because it's not going to be anything different than when I come in.
And one other quickie, this is going to sound maybe like a weird question, but how much respect do you have for quarterbacks like CJ coming on? You were just talking a while ago about the competition, for sacks, et cetera. On a pass play, that's what you're after.
Yeah.
You got to contain, but that's what you're after. He's reading the defense. He's remembering the play, and then he's got a guy like you breathing down his neck. I mean, what is the respect factor, I guess, among you guys for the guys that play the quarterback position?
For CJ, I definitely got a lot of respect for him. He comes in every day, works hard. His leadership is going through the roof. You can see it in the way he carries himself, in the way he talks to the people, the way he talks to us. He's definitely changed his mentality. You could just see it in him. So yeah, I definitely got the respect from him. To sit in there, he trains and he prepares for the moment, and you could just can't do nothing but just sit there and just be happy that he's succeeding. He's worked hard. He's grinded. We even had some talks, about his mentality and how it's changed and stuff. So yeah, I got the utmost respect for CJ. How he can sit in there and you see his game. It's been going up each week. So, yeah, I definitely got a lot of respect for him.
When did that interaction with you guys with defensive players start with him? Did he?
We in the same locker room. Like I sit, my locker's probably like 5 lockers down from him. So we always talk. We always chat. But he's always like, "Oh, what do you see on the defense?" Or what do you think we could do different? Or he, even if it's an off the field situation, but he's always the one that's trying to. Balance the situation out and get to the help the situation. So I'm just point of the situation is his leadership is just definitely just went through the roof, and I could definitely tell by just interacting with him.
We've got time for just a couple quickies. Sorry about that. Third row middle, Doug Lamarice, Cleveland.com.
Tyreek, is that a Cavs sweatshirt?
Yeah.
What do you think of the 2-2 start?
Oh man, I love it. I love the Cavs. I actually played with Evan Mobley when I was younger. Yeah, when I grew up in Corona. So yeah, it's just crazy to just watch him today and just see him, playing. See the guys and see the team I love and see guys I played with on the team. So yeah, I was just watching them. I watched the game against the Hawks, and I was just proud. I was just sitting there like, man, like look how far this team has come. I'm still waiting for a championship. I'm gonna be there. I'm always Cavs till I die. So Cavs, Cleveland, anything till I die. So yeah.
Explain that a little more. When did you play with him?
So yeah, growing up in California, I played AAU basketball, and I actually played with Evan Mobley and Isaiah Mobley when I was younger. When we grew up in the same area, so it's just crazy. I was watching on TV like maybe 2 years ago. I seen he was like the #1 recruit. I'm like, man, that's crazy. So just a small world. So yeah, but I'm a Cavs fan till I die, like I said. So yeah, I'm always rock my Cavs gear, and I'm happy how the team's doing right now.
And right behind him, Colin Gay from the Rivals.
You mentioned the art of rushing the quarterback, the art of pressures, and I'm curious, as an older guy, was that something that you saw was inherent in Jack and JT, or is that something that they kind of had to learn?
Yeah, it's definitely something they had to learn. I think everybody, when they come here, everybody still has that, that high school flavor to them. And, it just takes a little bit to, knock off that. But yeah, I think now, where they're at now, they definitely, bought into the system we have in our art of pass rushing. So yeah, and you could definitely see it in their play. Their players went through the roof tremendously since they came here. Just the moves they're doing, the first step they have. So yeah, it's definitely an art, and I think they're definitely getting it.
Quicker than you thought it would be, or
yeah, no, they're definitely developing very quick. They don't take long to get what we're teaching, and it don't take long to put it on the field. We take the meetings. That's what Coach says. Take the meetings to the field. So it's not very hard for them to take the meetings to the field. They always on their P's and Q's. Always trying to get better, always looking to get better, always asking questions. So, yeah, they're definitely getting it.
Tyreke, thank you very much.
No problem, man.
Close things up with our big left tackle. Thank you, Nick. Nicholas, rather. Mom named him Nicholas, not Nick. All right, we'll open up second row middle, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Nicholas?
Hey.
I don't expect you to kind of answer this the way that, completely honest, I guess, but do you feel like you're being overlooked a little bit? I mean, you're playing at an extremely high level, and yet there's some talk about you, but probably not the way that there could be. Do you care about that? I mean, what's your feeling about how you're playing and the kind of attention you're getting?
Well, firstly, thank you for saying that I'm playing at a high level. It's very humbling for you to say. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, all that matters is I'm playing for my teammates and I'm playing for this university. I'm playing for Ohio State. So we always talked about stuff like I think we talked about that at the beginning of the season, that as long as we're all playing well and as long as we're all doing our business, everyone will get theirs at the end, and whatever that may be in terms of like recognition and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, as long as I'm helping my teammates win and I'm helping the team win and I'm helping the O-line as best as I can, that's all I can really think about and that's all I can really care about. So it's great to get recognition and accolades, but I kind of see that more as, okay, that means our team's doing well. Whenever any of our teammates getting accolades, or anyone like Travion or CJ, they're getting talked about and they're getting news and things about that, what that means to me is that the wide receivers are playing well, the tight ends are playing well, the O-line's playing well, we're blocking for them well. Whatever accolades other people get, it kind of signifies that, we're doing something right.
Your switch to left tackle, are you glad that happened now? Because, first of all, it shows flexibility, versatility, but just, what do you think of that move, and how do you think you responded to it?
I'm happy about the move because, first and foremost, it helped the team. I think we became a better team when I was switched from right tackle to left tackle. I think that opened up more possibilities with the offensive line, and it kind of changed our offense a little bit because now we had a different type of way that we thought about our offensive line and how certain guys are better at certain things than others. So that's the first thing I would say about that. But then also with the switch to left tackle, I was happy that I got a chance for me to show my versatility and being able to play right and left. That's something that a lot of people like to try to look for at the next level and things like that, to see if you're versatile and you can play both sides. Hopefully I'm proving that I can, and I'm going to keep improving every single week. I'm not perfect yet, but every single week I'm going to keep going out to practice, trying to improve and trying to get better.
Second row right, Austin Ward, Lettermen Row.
I mean, isn't it a good thing that people aren't noticing you?
Yeah, that's usually the thing, like with O-linemen. Like if no one's talking about you, that means you're doing something right, because usually if you are being talked about, that means like, oh, he missed a block, or oh, he really got beat off the edge on that one. So it's kind of a give and take. Like if I'm not hearing a lot about me, that could mean that, like, you know what, I'm just doing such a good job that I'm not really showing any signs of me not playing well or things like that. But the way that I look at it is just as long as I hear the team's doing well and I hear other guys around me are doing well and a lot of skilled guys are doing well and my offensive line teammates are doing well, that means we're doing well.
When you guys watched Saturday night, did you think that was one of the better performances for the whole unit, or where do you still see that this group could get better?
For the offensive line unit? For the offensive line unit, I think that was one of our better performances. We could still improve. There's still some blitzes and there's still some schemes that we can improve on that we're going to make sure that we improve on this week, especially with Penn State coming to the shoe. You know, that's an amazing team. They're a very talented team. That's going to be a big game for us. So there's still more things that we can improve on, but I think we're really coming together as a unit in terms of us as an offensive line unit, and that's one of our main missions as we've been going on throughout this season is become 9 strong so that every single unit on our team, we all become 9 strong in one unit together.
We'll go 4th row middle, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Nick, you've played in night games home and away, and I know obviously having a home crowd and the Scarlet out and all that will fire you guys up, but how does that maybe affect a visiting team? Can they take positives from, you know, that rallying around, you know, being on the road in a big night game like this? How do you see that maybe affecting Penn State?
Well, I could say just on our end about how we've handled night games is that a lot of times with night games, there's a lot of energy and a lot of juice because it's a night game. Everyone want to come and go see their home team play, especially at night. It's like a premier marquee event. So in a good sense, it's a lot of energy. There's a lot of juice and there's a lot of emotion. So I think both teams, whether you're a home team or an away team, are going to come out hot. They're going to come out fiery and they're going to come out aggressive and wanting to make big plays. And every single time that someone would make a play, they're all going to get ramped up and rambunctious and things like that. So that's kind of a positive. But then also the negative is that with a home crowd, especially like the Best Damn fans in the lane here, it gets loud. Like this stadium can get so loud, especially at a night game. And sometimes it's hard for offenses to hear. You know, we've had to deal with night game situations where it was loud for us at first in the first and second quarter, and luckily we've been able to play pretty well in our away games that we were able to neutralize that home crowd, the home crowd's loudness around like the second half, so then we were able for us to listen more and listen to the cadence. But that's always still are two things that usually happen with night games. Like you get the amped up part of it, but then you also get the loudness that you got to handle and deal with.
Second row left, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Nick, this is more about the switch. I mean, was that switch from the right side to the left side as easy as maybe you made it look over these last couple of weeks, or was there a bit of a process that you had to go through?
It was very hard. I'm not going to lie, during camp when I first started, I mean, everyone has growing pains whenever they switch to new positions, but, you know, you always try to overthink things or you always want to do better than you can even imagine. Like I came into the mindset of like, look, I got to do this. I got to switch this position. I got to be almost seamless and flawless, and I can't have any like setbacks, but there were setbacks in camp. There were like an adjustment period that I had to take into account. I had to learn, and I think I talked about that before, that it was kind of like when I was going back into my freshman and sophomore year where there were still growing pains. I still had to learn. I still had to adjust. Only thing I could say is I think I adjusted quicker. I think I felt more comfortable as I went through fall camp and then I went through the first and second game. I appreciate you thinking that it's been looking easy. Offensive line is not easy at all. It's always one of the hardest positions in football, but, you know, it's just all the help that I got from Coach Stud and from my teammates and all the support I've had really has been good for me to make this transition and this switch.
You know you're protecting the blind side of a young quarterback who's never done anything. Do you press a little bit to try to, you know, get that development going a little bit quicker than maybe not really trying to go through the process at all?
I press to make sure that whoever's behind me, I protect them. That's the number one and most and foremost thing. Whether it was Justin last year, whether it was CJ this year, whoever's behind me at quarterback, that's the number one thing that I'm pressing about, is that I need to protect this guy with everything I can, every single play I can.
What was harder, switching from right side to left side or trying to put on weight the first couple of years?
I'll say putting on weight, but I didn't think anything would be as hard as putting on weight, but me switching actually was pretty close.
Over to the right, Bill Landis, The Athletic.
Nick, when you guys played Penn State last year, I think a lot of us were kind of curious how the matchup between Jason Owe and Shaka Toney would have gone with you and Thayer, and then it seemed like it went pretty well for you guys. I don't think those guys really did much of anything. How much of a confidence booster was that for maybe you in particular, going against two guys who were NFL defensive ends and playing pretty well in that game?
You know, it was great tape. is a real big confidence boost, especially when I think that was like the second game of the season last year. So that was a big game for me, just having my first game playing offensive tackle and being a starter. Coming up to the next one, I had two great defensive ends I had to go up against. Both of them are amazing players. They're doing well in the NFL right now. And it was just a great opportunity for me to get some good tape and some good film against some great guys. And it's the Big Ten. Almost every single week we're always going to go up against some type of defense or some type of defensive end or linebacker that's probably one of the best in the country that's showing up and showing out every single week.
What stands out about the guy they have now, Ebiketie, number 17? I think he's got five or six sacks this year. What have you seen from him on film?
He's a real tall guy, real lanky, but he has a great pass rush. He's really good with bull and stuff like that. We've been watching film on him. He's one of their better rushers on the team. I think both of their DNs are really good at pass rushing and stuff like that. So they're another great matchup, another great week for us to prove ourselves, for us to try to go out there and play up against great opponents.
Do you go back and watch like his Temple film, or you just watch everything he's done this year with Penn State?
We watch both. We usually try to watch the most recent games because that's usually the best indication of how they are and how they're playing at the moment. But we try to watch as much film as we can, and if we can go and find that type of film, we go and find it, and then we watch it, or whatever film that we need to watch that shows us any type of indication on what their tendencies are. If there's anything that we can pick up on, we'll try to do whatever we can.
Go over here to the far right, Tony German, Buckeye Scoop.
Nicholas, this being your fourth year, are you viewing this as your last year?
I'm not necessarily viewing it as my last year. What I'm viewing it as, this is another year playing for the Buckeyes. Another great year, another great chapter, and what I kind of want to call my story here, my progression and my time here. So whatever that chapter is, whether it's the last one or not, all I know is that I got another game coming up. You only get so many chances, especially so many chances to play home games in front of an amazing crowd like this in Buckeye Nation. So the only thing I'm worried about is just trying to play my best for them.
And then the standard at left tackle right now, are you trying to be better than you were as a right tackle, or are you trying to be better than Thayer Munford was last year?
What I could tell you is that the standard that Thayer Munford left at left tackle is probably is going to be looked upon from Ohio State history as probably one of the best standards at left tackle, in my opinion. Not only did he play that position well in terms of just on the field, and you just see how he played, but also the leadership aspect of it that maybe not a lot of people see behind the scenes, or some of the things that he did as a leader in terms of bringing up younger guys. So if I had to pick one, I would pick Thayer's Munford and trying to be better than that, but not only in just terms of being on the field better, but also just how he was as a leader and how he was able to bring along guys with him.
Guys, we've got to be out here by 2 o'clock. I only have time for 2 more. We'll go third row right, Tim May, Lettermen Row.
Nicholas, it is what you go by, right?
Yeah, either one.
Yeah, I know, man. St. Nicholas, bring me something good. The chemistry you have right now with Thayer Munford in that line and stuff, did that develop as the year went on? I mean, obviously you guys playing next to each other, and how well are y'all playing together? If you follow me, we watched you guys pick up a stunt a couple of weeks ago, a twist, and like you're just rolling out of bed or something, stuff. But when did that really start to click for you guys?
It's been clicking for a little while. I would say that fall camp was really where we kind of started merging together and kind of figuring each other out and understanding how each of us like certain things and like what our timings are on different things. Like I could tell you that there is a difference when you play with someone new. Like there is a different timing with Wyatt than there was with Thayer. And there was different things that Thayer did that Wyatt didn't do, and there was different ways that we communicate, or we're like, hey, I'm better at doing this and I'm doing that, so you need to help me in this, or I can give you more so you can go off and do your own thing in other areas. So I think it was just around like fall camp was when it started clicking. But when you're playing with someone like Thayer Munford, probably one of the best offensive linemen in like the country, almost everything looks easy because he makes things look easy, So I give him all props to him for how he's been playing. He's been having an amazing season, and him making the switch from left tackle to left guard was not an easy switch, but he made it look like it was.
Another quickie. When do you start watching video of the opponent? When do you start in a week? Were you watching it on the plane coming back from Indiana? Were you watching it Sunday? How much time do you guys put in that part of the preparation?
I mean, we put in so much time. I mean, we watch film almost every single day. We'll come in on Sundays. we'll watch the film of the game before, and then once we finish up watching all that film, we'll try to watch a little bit of the film of whatever team we have coming up. We'll always come in on Mondays as an O-line, whether in certain groups or in the ones and the twos, and we'll come in. We'll try to watch the film together just to learn different stuff. We're about to go watch film in a little while later, so we'll watch more film on Penn State. We'll do it on Wednesday. We'll do it on Thursday. We'll do it on Friday. Night games are amazing. I love night games because we get another opportunity for us to watch even more film right before the game starts. So we'll try to watch like 2 or 3 more sessions of film right before the game starts. So I actually appreciate having more time in like a night game because we get more opportunities at a bite at the apple for us to watch more film and to study our opponents.
And final questions, third row middle, Doug Lamourese, Cleveland.com.
Nicholas, can I ask you about a specific play from Saturday? The first touchdown run for you guys. It looked like Micah McFadden, their linebacker, kind of read the play pretty well, and you just got him and steered him right out of the hole. Can you just take me through like your responsibilities on that play and how well you think you made that block?
What I could tell you is that me and Thayer had a combination with that block, and it was between us with that. I think it was like a 3 technique or a 4-eye up to McFadden, who was a linebacker. I saw him rolling across over the top because we went a little bit tempo, so he was kind of a little bit late to the play, but he's probably one of the best linebackers, not only in the Big Ten, but probably in the country in terms of reading plays, his aggressiveness, how hard he hits. So seeing him come across the top, I was able for me to get off the block, and I knew that he's one of the best players of the nation. Is either me or him, and someone's going to have to make a play. Luckily, I was able to get there in time, and I was able to make the play and kind of steer him out the way. So I think it was mine that was able to make the cut off my butt to get up and go untouched. So that's kind of how the play went. He's just probably one of the hardest hitting linebackers, probably one of the best linebackers in the country. And we watched a lot of film on him. He was one of our main keys and one of our main targets in terms of the game, in terms of making sure that we have to get this guy blocked because he'll make plays all across the field. So it was just a good play, not only by Thayer, but by everyone on the offensive line. We all made our blocks well, and it was just a great opportunity for us to get a touchdown there.
I was going to follow up. That was like the best answer I've gotten in a year. So that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Got you.